Hello everyone, I'm Don and welcome to my kitchen. Today it's Italian comfort food. When I was growing up, my mom made this at least once a month, and now I do. It is sausage, peppers, onions, and potato bake. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is preheat your oven at 400 degrees, which I've already done. You're going to start out with 10 Italian sausage links. You can use mild, hot, a mix, whatever you'd like. Here in Pennsylvania, the packages are a little over £1 a piece. A good reference point would be at least 2 pounds of Italian sausage links. You're going to need a baking sheet lined with parchment paper or aluminum foil. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to take your sausage links and you're just going to place them so they're not touching each other. As long as they fit on here. So into the oven we go for 12 minutes with these guys. It's only going to cook them about halfway, and that's what we want. We're going to let them cook the rest of the way with all the vegetables. So let me get these in the oven and I'll be right back. Okay, so next thing you're going to need is like a roasting pan or a lasagna pan or a nice sized Pyrex dish. This recipe feeds 8 people, so it needs to hold a lot. We're going to get started by cutting up our vegetables. Everything's cut up in large pieces with this recipe, so there's no fine chopping. First thing we're going to start out with is 2 large red onions, and I'm talking about the nice size of a baseball. If you have small ones, go for 3 of them. If you don't like onions, go for 1 of them. So we're going to go ahead just by starting to cross cut this guy, and then I'm going to cut it into like pie shape. And what we want to do is go ahead and get these in nice little chunks and just break them up with your hand. All right, we got our onions, so now we're going to go ahead and move into our peppers. And what we're going to have is 4 bell peppers in here. Now, you can use any kind of bell pepper. My mother always just used green peppers. That was what was readily available. But now with the colored peppers out there, I like to make the bake colorful as well. So I'm going to use today 1 red, 1 orange, and 1 yellow pepper. Now I'm just going to cut them. I'm going to break off the stems, clean out the seeds, and once again large pieces. And I'm going to cut them into strips. So I'll finish the peppers up. We'll move on to the potatoes. All right, I got the peppers, I got the onions all cut up. Now we're going to go to the potatoes. So you're going to need 2 pounds of red skinned potatoes. Now we just leave the skins on, and we're going to cut them into about 1 inch pieces. So these size potatoes, I'm going to just go ahead and cut them like this, cut them like this. And then I'm just going to go ahead. And the potatoes is actually what takes the longest to cook in this whole recipe. So we actually, I don't mind those being a little smaller, but you can see there's no consistency required here. There's a lot of give and take with this recipe. If you don't like the peppers, you can leave the peppers out, or you could reduce the peppers. You can increase the potatoes if you love the potatoes. There's no wrong way to do this. Next thing we're going to do is add garlic. I've taken fresh garlic here, and I had 5 cloves that were reasonably good size, and I just sliced them down into thin pieces. And we're just going to go ahead and scatter these throughout. The next thing you're going to need is diced tomatoes. This is a 14.5 ounce can. This one actually has basil and garlic and oregano in it. I bought it by accident at Aldi's, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. So we take a can of tomatoes, and I just heard my timer beep, so I'm going to go ahead and get the sausage out of the oven because we want that to cool. All All right, so the sausage is out. You can see it's not fully cooked, and that's exactly what we want. So, but we can't cut this until it cools down somewhat, but we're not done with this, with the rest of the bake at this point. So while our sausage cools, we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna go ahead and mix this up. And then we're gonna take olive oil, and you're gonna probably end up using about 1/4 cup altogether. But I'm gonna go ahead and drizzle the entire top of this. Pretty nice amount of oil. All right. Now for this part, I do use a spoon. I'm just gonna go ahead and coat these pieces. We're gonna do a little seasoning here. Seasoning is real simple. Italian seasoning, salt and pepper. 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I'm only gonna use about half of it at this point. And it's about 1/2 teaspoon of both salt and pepper. Once again, I'm not going 100% on it because I'm going to go ahead and stir this up and recoat it with oil some more. And we're going to finish off with the rest of our salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and finish off and use the rest of my Italian seasoning. Some more pepper. More salt. And that is it. All we gotta do now is wait for our sausage to cool down a little bit, then we'll cut that up. So we'll be right back. Okay, so our sausage just cooled down enough that I can handle it. Now keep in mind, it's still going to be raw inside. You want a good sharp knife. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut these on the bias, on an angle. So you want about a 45-degree angle, about 1-inch pieces. And as I'm cutting them, I'm just going to go ahead and put them right in. All right, got all my sausage cut up and I got it in my pan, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a good stir. All right, so now all we gotta do is put this in the oven for 20 minutes and I'm gonna take it out at that point. I'm gonna give it a stir, then it's gonna go back in for another 20 minutes. Okay, so we just got this out of the oven. It's been in there for 20 minutes. And all we're gonna do now is just give it a good stir. We wanna turn the vegetables and that sausage. Now, as I mentioned before, it's the potatoes that really take the longest in this to cook. So this is going to go back in the oven for 20 more minutes. At that point, we're going to check. I'm going to check it with a fork. And as you know, potato gets very soft when it's done. Should even just break in half when I do that. Then we know it's done. If it's not, then it's going to stay in the oven until it is. But usually in that timeline, a total of 40 minutes to 45 minutes is good enough to get our potatoes done, especially cutting them up into smaller pieces. So this goes back in for 20 minutes and we'll be back. Okay, we're all done. At 40 minutes, I checked it, and I checked one of the potatoes with a fork, and it wasn't quite there. I let it go for another 8 minutes, and it's perfect at this point. Let's talk about the cost of this dinner. So it serves 8 people. I bought everything at Aldi, and I added it all up. It was $14 and change, close to $15. Let's say 15. And it serves 8 people, so that's under $2 per person. I don't think you can do any better than that. So that's it for my sausage, pepper, onion, and potato bake. It's a delicious dinner any time of the year. Stores very well. It will hold up to 3 days in the refrigerator, or you can freeze it, and that's what I do. I always make a big batch and freeze it. It holds up tremendously well, up to 3 months in the freezer. I'll also leave the recipe in the description below, the full written recipe in the description below for you. And if you enjoy this video and you want to see more like it, please like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. So that's it for today in Don's Kitchen. We'll see you next time.